everybody, and welcome to the Nerdsplaining podcast. I'm your host, Eric Da Silva. With me, as always, is my co-host, Jose Romero.
Greetings, salutations, nerds around the world, and also to you, Eric. What the hell?
I mean, listen, might as well. I'm here.
You
Just
deserve
acknowledge me a little
greeting
bit.
and salutation as well. Dude.
Acknowledge me, please. Don't be like my ex-wife. Acknowledge me. I'm a person.
Acknowledge that. Here you go.
Thank you. I feel very good about
it.
Thank you.
Because we're not
married. We would work it. We would nerd work it out.
Exactly.
Total nerd, no homo, but also kind of homo, but whatever. I don't care. Life's a spectrum. Doesn't matter. We're all about it.
True. Absolutely. This is a very.
Your wife might get mad. Might get mad. But listen.
Well, she doesn't know what hurt her.
Yeah, it's Florida. There's so many options.
You gotta keep secrets, man. Not a big week, man. This is a very light week. That's okay, though. It's okay. Not every week's going to be a big week. Sometimes little nuggets, sometimes big nuggets. There is some X-Men we're going to dive into. So I'm sure you're very excited about. Of course, that X-Men 97 finale just finished its run on Disney+. So very excited to talk about that. Little housekeeping before we get to nuggets. We were talking about it before, and I guess there was some news which I guess is worthy of some mentioning because I'm not personally excited for some of this stuff, particularly with Agatha.
Right.
The TV show coming out, of course. I think it released the title, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Officially.
Official
the
title,
official title. It's not a rumor.
No, yeah.
It's not reported. Right. It's the official.
The official title, and I guess it's being released this year, right?
Yes.
Right?
September.
Okay. September. Okay, I got you. Okay, so is that how many shows is that? Just the second show for MCU this year? First live action, no?
This is the first. No, because Echo was first. So the second live
action. We all choose to forget about Echo.
But listen, we all hopefully the memory of Echo becomes just an Echo.
Exactly.
Did we watch that?
And that might carry over to Agatha, because Agatha is still from the prior regime, or however you want to label it.
Right.
So I don't know if we're gonna get at that, but it is tangible. It is
coming out. I'm excited. I like Catherine Hahn. I thought she made the WandaVision part of why it was so much fun to watch. I'm also I forgot the girl's name. She was on Parks and Rec. She was on Legion. She's very deadpanned. She's apparently Agatha's like girlfriend, apprentice character. But I'm excited for her. I think she's great. And I mean, listen, I like when you do something different, just make it good. I don't really care. It doesn't have to be some, like, for example, we're goofing on Echo right now. Echo could have been good, but it wasn't. But none of it was like, but like, I'm not really into like Native American characters. I don't care. Yeah. Just give me something good and I'm going to watch it.
It wasn't good because of that. It's just good. It wasn't good because
on Netflix. Yeah, listen. On Netflix, they just released the Deadpool detectives. I mean, Dead Boy Detectives. And
pretty
super
cool
fun.
Yeah, cool show.
Super fun. Really, like, not great, not earth-shattering, just fun.
Show.
That's what I want. Yeah. Give me fun. It doesn't have to be a slog. It doesn't have to be making a state. Like, give me fun, and I'm in. And Catherine Hahn's fun. And if she's signing up for this, I'm hoping they keep the one made her great there. I mean, listen, is it a total Hollywood spin that every title you release was actually just a big joke, and now we just settled on Agatha all along? Yeah, because you don't know what the hell you're doing because you're freaked out basically 18 million times while making this thing. Sure, I get it. But you know what? Good on you for kind of getting in on the joke. Maybe that's kind of the Deadpool Ryan Reynolds effect, which is you get to kind of make fun of yourself to make it work. Because if that's what it is, I'm in for that. Like, I'm be self-referential, like be meta, and also realize that we're kind of like, what we did to get here is kind of stupid, but we're here, so let's have a good time. Like, if they're that, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, Aubrey Plaza, I think is the one you're talking about.
Aubrey Plaza. She's great. I always forget her name.
She's cool. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, I'll see a trailer. I don't know. I want to see what tone they're taking. Is it kind of very just tongue-in-cheek? I don't know. I don't think it's a very serious kind of show. I suspect it's not.
I hope not.
I hope not. That would be the wrong way to go from the get-go. For sure.
This should be a show where it's primarily fun and not unintentionally, but haphazardly, they lay down the groundwork for other things.
Right.
But it's just fun. And so it's one of those, like, I think Marvel, and this is kind of a bigger idea of a whole lot of things we're going to talk about today. I think Marvel works best when they drop information off that isn't homework, but if you watch it, you can appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Instead of you have to, like, that was like the big problem. Like for example, the WandaVision versus Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which wasn't that many madness or multiversities. Uh, when it became required for you to understand why Wanda was evil, that was a problem.
Of course.
But if
Yeah.
you just see something and then you're talking to your friend about like, oh, did you watch this series? Because that thing connects to that. You just go, oh, let me see that. Like, oh, cool, I was able to enjoy this by itself here.
Yeah.
But because I saw that, it brought an extra level of enjoyment. That's the difference between comic book continuity and like TV show media continuity.
It's different.
It should be.
It totally is. You know.
It should be something you discover when you want, but it shouldn't hold you back from understanding what you're watching in the first place.
Because it also holds, and from a TV side, holds you back because if you feel you got to watch 10 other shows or whatever, you're not going to. I mean, who's got time for that?
This is entertainment, not homework.
Right, like,
that's what it should be. It should be entertainment, not homework.
And I think
but
may happen.
If you choose to do it as homework, you're rewarded, but it should be at your own schedule when you got the time, if you choose to remember. Right. You should want to watch it just on idea and not because I need to know.
Exactly. I don't be forced to watch it to enjoy whatever they get, because then it just takes fun away. And now you look at the hardcore fans watching it, which goes back to the ratings and it's not doing well.
I mean, I'm going to watch all of it because I'm crazy.
We'll watch it, right, obviously. But I mean, the casual fan just don't, do I have to go back?
But even then, it's good to know we have a line. Our line is Titans, Madam Web. There's a certain line we're like, no, bad, away. We could do that. It's not all.
Actually, funny you brought that up because I did finally see Madam Web because it came out on Netflix.
Did you really? I still haven't watched it. I'm watching it this week with my kids because we're going to make fun of it. Go. What do you think?
It's bad. This is laid out. It's just not.
Okay.
But I think we're talking about like the bar being set as far as where you should be better than between that and Morbius. I think Morbius was worse.
Really? I thought Morbius was pretty bad, but I heard Madam Web was worse than Morbius.
Madam Web is bad. It's very, very, very few things that are good about it. Very few. But those few things are better than the few things offered in Morbius. Whatever that's worth. So
somebody told me
it's bad.
That the only reason they would like Madam Web more than Morbius is that Madam Web at least put their characters in costumes. So you had that edge up versus Morbius, which is never really a costume.
I guess.
And to be fair, Morbius, if you're going to go comic book accurate, Morbius does have a very BDSM 9 Inch Nails fetish feel.
They got that right.
I get it. Listen. No one's like, if you were comic book accurate, you're like, wow, this is a very different movie. Just on the optics alone.
This movie's bad. It's laughable at times. It's bad. It is. We all know it. And there's not news to spring out here. It's just the whole Morbius thing. I saw Morbius that one time, and that was enough. I'm not going back to compare if it's better than Madam Web.
I stopped halfway through, like, I'm done.
I was in the theater, I watch it, whatever. But yeah.
What's worse, Madam Web or Rebel Moon?
Oh, Rebel Moon's worse.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Off feeling from what I experienced, like it can't be better than worse than this, right?
Question. That's it. But let's not make it seem Madam Web is good. It's not.
No. I just want to know the level of garbage
Rebel Moon's
to be expected.
Rebel Moon's it's a bad movie. Let's be honest.
That's all I need to know.
It's what it is. That's a sad statement.
Jose, like the kids say less.
Yeah. Rebel Moon 3, baby. Can't wait for that spinoff. Oh God. Let's go back. Let's read it back in. What was the? Oh, Daredevil was the other one, right? They announced that they talked about that. I think trailer's dropping soon, from what they said.
And for like first big announcement, episode count.
Yes, the 9 episodes being released as opposed to we heard 18 prior.
Right.
Which I was so dead set against. Right from the beginning.
And
from the get-go.
We try to mental gymnastic how they can make it work without feeling homeworky.
Right.
This is the way you do it.
9 episodes. That's fine, right? It may be long, maybe too short. We'll watch the show. We'll find out. But I don't care if it's too short, too long. It's better than 18 episodes. 18 episodes was not the way to
Any
go.
which way you cut it.
More concise story. Okay. That's good news. That's very good news.
These days, because of X-Men 97, which we'll get into, because now we talk about the last episode, but the whole series as a whole. X-Men 97 has shown us what you can do with 33 minutes.
Of course.
There should be no, it's got to be that. It's got to be bang, bang, bang.
And I don't know how long, I would assume 45. I mean, let me not assume because it's Disney and MCU. Right. The shows run 30 to 40, whatever. I hope it's more than 35
Netflix was
minutes.
45 to 50 minutes.
Yeah, Netflix is about 40 minutes, 40, like typical kind of runtime for this kind of show. But I hope that's what they do. I don't know. If I see 30 minutes, I think Echo, I don't know how long. Echo was not like it
It
wasn't 40
felt
minutes.
long.
It felt
It
long because
felt
it wasn't good, but
long.
I mean, I don't think it was like 40 minutes, like 45. I think it was like 30 something. Listen,
It
you
all
can make good
felt.
stuff in 30 minutes. We've seen it. I get it.
It felt like two
Yeah.
hours. I'm not gonna
No,
lie. Echo was a bit of a drag. I was
no,
like,
no. Yeah,
oh, geez.
it's oof, yeah. Um, oh wow. Now you got me thinking real quick on a question you didn't ask. It was should you have asked? Is Echo better than Madam Web?
Well, I haven't seen Madam Web yet. But
Ooh.
next week's episode, I will tell you what it falls
I'm gonna
under.
think about that. I'm gonna leave that in the chamber.
That's a good one.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna in
yeah.
the
Hold
chamber.
on. We will reconvert. So let us know in the comments
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
think is on the
Is Morbius better than
Werewolf
Madam Web?
Echo Morbius or Madam Web smorgasbord of garbage. Well, how does that? What's your Tower of Terror lineup on that?
God, didn't even those in line. But let's get to the other big news of the week, and that's Fantastic Four. We're talking about last week with Giancarlo Esposito maybe not being Galactus, which you and I did not want to see him as Galactus,
Right.
and now confirmed we don't have to worry about him being Galactus because
Whew.
they hired Ralph Ineson, British actor. Not a, it's kind of one of those guys from that thing, but it's not very well known.
He's like a
He's a
character.
character
He's a
actor,
character.
so
Right.
good, perfect. I don't need a big name. I mean, Javier
No.
Bardem would have worked, but I'm saying, listen,
Sure.
it's just his voice.
And we even said it. Harvey Bardem would work because he's got a great voice. This guy's voice though is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard like I didn't realize he did a God of War and
Yeah,
he
yeah, he
did
did, yeah.
Game of. I was like, oh, this is the dude.
It's
Yeah.
got a distinct voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a cool voice. So that's perfect, right? We
Yeah.
need that, and I'm glad. I'm like, that's the first thing I thought of. Okay, good. They're saving Giancarlo Esposito for something more meatier in terms
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's good. And he did talk about it, calling him a world devouring cosmic villain, which is what Galactus is. I guess so they're gonna stick
Sure.
to the script. I don't know. I'm kind of curious if he's gonna be. I really hope there's not a one and done. I don't think it is, but
I heard he's not. I heard that
hope
they're
not.
going
I
to
hope
carry.
not.
He's going to be
Right.
one of the carryovers.
I would
to
assume he
right.
is. I don't know if it's. Does he have ties with? I mean, we're not doing. I don't know what the hell they're doing with the Avengers, but Secret Wars. Does he have ties in that Secret Wars?
He does have ties
Okay.
to Secret Wars.
Okay.
He is in it, but it's a little bit of a messed up. It's his corpse that's used as like the guardrail for Doom's
Okay.
thing. But that all being said, what's really cool is that in the Marvel comics, Jonathan Hickman, who's the goat on when it comes to like grand scale stories, his Fantastic Four run ends with the idea that in the super duper future, Mr. Fantastic's son, Franklin Richards, he is a reality warper on such a massive scale that Galactus becomes his herald.
Interesting.
And so, like, just understand, like, the power level for Galactus to go, I actually work for this guy. Like, that is what Franklin Richards does. So, he has long range implications, but not major implications in the Secret Wars of it all. But he is involved tangentially.
I guess they could squeeze him in if they wanted to. But I was just kind of curious because now being that it could be more like a long term Thanos kind of thing where you kind of drag it out. 10 films, right? You have to like introduce him now, then he's the big bad in Avengers, right?
I don't think he would ever be a big bad like an Avengers big bad. He's definitely like Odin was scared to fight him and fought him to like a standstill.
Okay.
So like he's on that level. Doctor Strange is like, oh fuck, Galactus. Fantastic Four is like, holy crap, Galactus.
Right.
Like he is definitely level. But here's the thing, he's not malicious. He's not like fuck your planet, I'm gonna eat it. He's just like, I'm sorry, I'm a cosmic force and I need to feed, and so I'm eating. And that's why he has heralds, because the heralds are like, they're like, listen, he's got to eat. So we're gonna try to find planets that are uninhabited, and if we can't, we're gonna have to like, we'll give you guys a warning. We'll give you 2 weeks. It's like an eviction notice. Like, get out of town. Galactus is coming. You've all been cosmic gentrified. Like, it's gonna be that thing. So, but it's not he doesn't resent. He just needs to eat.
He's not Unicron.
So. Right, in a sense, but the Unicron's like, I hate all you guys.
I'm eating everything I see. I don't give a shit.
Like, I'm eating you, and I'm like sticking my finger in your butt at the same time. It's just mean. It's mean, and like that's not how Galactus does it. Galactus like just it's almost like it's like plumbing. This is just a job I gotta do, and so it's it is.
Gotta do it. And I was on the only casting news. They got I heard John Malkovich. Casting. They got Natasha Leon forgot her name. She's from Poker Face or
Right.
Russian Doll.
Yes.
Cool shows. She's also American Pie, of course. She's
Yep.
cast in it as well, rumored to be Ben Grimm's girlfriend. Does that make sense?
If
Yeah.
she is Alicia Masters, Ben Grimm's girlfriend who's blind, I'm thinking John Malkovich is the puppet master, which is a Fantastic Four villain,
Okay.
is Alicia Masters' father. And his whole thing is that he makes clay sculptures that he can control and they come to life. It's a classic 60s type of villain. He's not really relevant these days, but because they're in a 60s kind of like kitschy, kind of like old wacky kind of world, it makes sense that he would be there as like, I would think it's going to be like one of the villains you see them beating up
in
early
the
on
beginning.
to kind of establish
that's exactly what I was
right.
Yeah, because I don't think they're gonna squeeze another villain. We got Silver Surfer and Galactus. You know, you were like a quick intro.
An example villain.
You know,
he's an example villain to set the tone.
Exactly.
It's almost like, remember in the Incredibles, they beat Bon Voyage.
Oh right.
He's a villain.
Yeah.
But he's not the villain.
Right.
Same thing.
A little kind of with appetite, like we did with
exactly
with Rhino, not Get Away, but with Rhino and Amazing Spider-Man.
Right.
So I could see that. I guess I've heard that rumor too. John Malkovich. I love John Malkovich. He's a good character actor. So this cast is fitting out. So that's. I mean, listen. I think this is a big key movie for him. I think moving forward, I think this sets the tone for what we're gonna see down the road. Because Deadpool's his own thing. We know that.
Right.
You know, Captain America, whatever, Thunderbolts, whatever. Fantastic Four is the one that's like, okay, where we're going with this long term, I would assume.
We're sort of like resetting what we're going to do. Like, this is going to be a tone setter.
Right. In terms of the big baddie or introducing, it's going to be the main players moving forward, maybe the Avengers, whatever.
Yeah.
This is a big movie, man. It's a lot of pressure. This is like, their Superman coming out, I think.
In a way, because it is optimistic. It's also a very optimistic team. Mm-hmm. They're not about like being gritty and dark and all. They're like a fun-loving family adventure dynamic. So, and they're about discovery, not really superheroing. They superhero just as a way to make people like them, but they're more about discovery and exploration and that sense of like wonder. So that's kind of what makes it fun. Like right now, in the Fantastic Four, the comic book just came out. The Thing and Johnny Storm are having a competition working at a restaurant to see who can cook better. Like, it's such a silly idea, but the characterization, like right now, the Fantastic Four run, the characterization is so good that you're like, when they do these sort of like wacky one event, they're doing a lot of it's done in one adventures, but they're so much fun. It makes it feel like classic Fantastic Four. And if the movie is going to get closer to the tone that the book's doing, I'm really excited.
That was actually one of the few things about the original, well, not the original, whatever, the last version. Well, actually, two versions of Fantastic Four with
Tim Story.
With Chris Evans. Anyway,
right, Tim Story.
With that dynamic between Grimm and him. That was the only fun part of that movie.
And that's what
one of the few things that worked.
It's one of those things, man. You got to have that dynamic. They're like the two best friends who like to pick on each other. But if anyone else picks it up, like, oh, we're gonna fight now.
Right, exactly.
Mess with my boy. It's my boy. Oh, I get to mess with my boy. So it's good. That's what makes it work. So when you get into this kind of wacky silliness of it all, as long as it's between them, it works. And I'm all about that.
I guess that did work. Not much else. Is that better than Man and Web? No, it's not. Let's not go off the list. That's the whole show. What is better than Man and Web? What does Man and Web be?
Look, hot take. Tim Story's Fantastic Four better than Man and Web. Sorry, haters. I'm saying it.
I guess it's been a while since I've seen it. I'm not ready to make that statement right now.
I'm saying
recency bias. I just saw Man and Web, unfortunately, but yeah. What we know what is better than Man and Web for sure, guaranteed, is X-Men '97. Finally got the 10th final finale episode. You and I were like hoping they stick the landing. It's no spoilers here. They stuck the landing.
Oh my God!
Naturally,
even the Romanian judge gave him a 9.9, which is huge for the Romanian judge. They are not very giving, but 9.9, pretty solid.
Yeah, and it did exactly what we wanted to: finish off the storyline and then leave us with the next one, right? Which I'll jump on it now because I'm like people will be excited to hear about the Age of Apocalypse storyline, which is what they're saying.
Well, let's get before we get to that prediction. There's so much.
We'll back up, obviously, but yes, but yeah, I know you're itching, so go ahead, Eric.
All right, look. First of all, you're right. This story did everything we wanted. There was a definitive conclusion to the adventure they were in. It didn't get left on like a cliffhanger on like, are they going to stop this threat finally? No, threat stopped.
Yes. Correct.
Done.
Good.
Fantastic. They did so many cameos in this thing that I woke up and I squealed like a child while having my morning cup of
I
coffee.
think I like the Force where I felt like all the voices disappearing. I felt you when they showed Daredevil. I was like, oh, Eric just shit in his pants right now. I could feel it. I could
Yeah,
feel it. I knew
so
it.
excited.
Uh,
I, I was like, the only time I ever got Daredevil was like a little bit of the Spider-Man animated series. I'm like, I got him. Oh, so good. And then they even but you even saw Peter Parker with Mary Jane in their civilian clothes. I was like, oh,
yeah, they
look at
couldn't
you
really
there.
show Spider-Man per se, but whatever. It's fine.
Which we even talked about, like we like the series when it ended. He was in the multiverse looking for Mary Jane. Bo DeMeo confirmed it. He found Mary Jane. That's why they're there. I was like, even better, super dope. That they had Doctor Strange operating while using magic because his hands are still messed up. I loved all that. Also, super sweet that they kept the things so the circles are able to control the eldritch circles that he does. But if you notice, it looks very much like the movie version, but different than Forge's, and I like that distinction. Like it didn't look because it's different types of magic, even though they may be tapping into similar things. They're aesthetically different because of the way they get into it. Like all that, super dope.
Very
I
cool.
loved it. I thought the we saw Cloak and Dagger, which were great. Cloak and Dagger, depending on the writer, are either mutants or mutates. They joined the X-Men for a time when they lived in San Francisco, so I was excited to see them. Captain America, who apparently got his shield back. So
I know, yeah.
like,
Good for him.
yeah, I was like, I'm sure Iron Man had to do like a whole magnet thing, like, oh, I found it, right? But and then you saw Iron Man. You saw '90s Iron Man,
Yeah.
which was not a good cartoon. I'm
no,
like, listen,
yeah.
I will die on the hill of X-Men and Spider-Man. I will let you take Iron Man Hill with no resistance.
That's the one you sacrifice. All right, you can have that. We're gonna keep this.
Yeah, and here's the thing: if you don't know because you weren't into comic books in the '90s, let me just say, Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr. Not that great. I mean, just interesting. He had moments, but not a great character.
It was not a wimp level.
I mean, you're not 100% wrong. He flirted with Madam Web. Let's put it that way. It was very like, hey, how you doing? They had a storyline too, but it wasn't that great. But especially during the '90s, it was not great at all. But it was great to see him because now we're putting Robert Downey Jr. energy on him, so that they know how to make him work, which is exciting. You saw Black Panther and the Dora Milaje, which is dope because Dora Milaje wasn't introduced until 1996. So the fact that they had him in X-Men '87, I was like, you're damn right.
A year after, right there.
and they put him in their MCU uniforms, super dope. But then big plot twist, it's not T'Challa, it's T'Chaka, it's his dad. I was like, I like that kind of shit. So you still could do the whole Black Panther's dad dying, assuming the mantle, left that wide open for you. So I appreciate that. You saw a Silver Samurai, which you've seen before. You saw Omega Red with the Winter Guard. Which is the Russian version of the Avengers, which you had Crimson Dynamo, you had Dark Star. I will say, it was really weird because the episode before this one, they had Omega Red trapped in a tube, like either keeping him in stasis or sucking his energy out. And then this episode, he's fighting the Sentinels. I'm like, so you just kept this dude trapped? And this dude was like, no, screw it. First I say Russia, and then it's your ass. So I kind of like that, like, yeah, Omega Red, get your priorities. Country over necessity. Like, you gotta save the country before you take it over. So yeah, do all that. Fantastic. I thought it was. You saw Genosha still have mutants. You had Psylocke. You had a third of Alpha Flight was there because you had North Star and Aurora and Puck, and you also, I think it was either Celia Reyes or Tempo. There was a Hispanic Afro Black character, but she was so fast I couldn't really tell because she didn't have a costume, so I couldn't really tell what's going on. But all that great cameos all across the board. I didn't like the fact that out of all the heroes that got beat up, it was Daredevil. I'm like, really?
He got treated like a little bitch. He really did.
Yeah. He was stopping looters, but one Sentinel blast, knocked the window. I mean, listen, I like the fact that Cloak and Dagger got his back. I appreciate it, but like, just because he's blind doesn't mean he didn't see the shot coming. He has 360 radar. He can see it from all angles. So I didn't appreciate that at all. If anything, it should have been Cloak and Dagger that got hit a little bit like that. But whatever. I digress. I'm not here to pick fights. It's perfectly fine. But that all to say, Bastion and and Mr. Sinister's storylines come to a head on this one.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that we got a little bit of a Phoenix, because you can't
Sure.
you can't have Jean Grey in a story without her tapping into the Phoenix Force. It was great. Her deconstructing of Mr. Sinister
That was
was
cool.
fantastic. My favorite part is after she takes out all the genetic enhancements he gave himself and he becomes a crippled old man. He's like 150 years old at this point, but he still has the youthful sprite to run away crying. Like I like that. Not like slow geriatric going. Like, oh god! I was like, good. Look, good for you. You're still got a little gumption in you to be sad.
That's
Like
funny.
that. And then Bastion comes in like a boss, starts taking everybody down, and then he does a move that I was crazy. He rips out Cable's arm and beats him with it,
yeah.
which is real why you hitting yourself 90s style, because we didn't care about people being disabled challenge. So he's like, screw your prosthetic arm, I hit you with this. And then he does it when he absorbs it and he becomes the super techno lab version. Here's a quick thing though. That's actually a design from a storyline that was originally done in Messiah Complex and then became storyline Second Coming. Now, when I saw this, as cool as that was, I got a little scared. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
In Second Coming, when Bastion hits that level of the upgrade, when he absorbs the techno-organic virus, the X-Men are all knocked down. And the only mutant that's holding the line is Nightcrawler. And while Nightcrawler's teleporting, beating him, and giving the X-Men a chance to get their second win to fight back, Bastion, being a hyper-evolved computer, calculates where he's going to show up next, and he puts his arm out, and Nightcrawler teleports into the arm.
Ooh.
And because the arm is in his chest, he dies.
Interesting.
So when Bastion goes to fight Blue Team in the Moon, and it came down to this Nightcrawler, I was like, oh man, they're going to kill Nightcrawler. They're going to arm him right now. Oh, like, and they did it, which is great, but what a wonderful way to let people like me get a little extra scared because like, oh, we kill people in the show. So I hope you're ready for it because it's going to happen. By the way, quick side note, in the comics, the way they bring Nightcrawler back to life, the X-Men break into heaven. So, yeah. So I'm just saying, maybe don't kill Nightcrawler.
Yeah,
you
go as a road that does not sound what you want to travel on. That really does.
You think time heist is hard? Holy heist.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, if anyone could make it work, Bo the Mayo, I think has a good shot. But that's just me. But big fight. Everyone is. What I love when the X-Men come together to have a big fight. Rogue has her final closure moment where she says his name was Gambit. Remember it. Yeah. Knocks him down. I thought that was awesome. So, Roberto da Costa embraces the Sunspot moniker. Goes full good guy. I'm so glad a Brazilian is now embraced as a hero. Thank goodness. I was a little scared they're going to make him do a heel turn, and they kept him in the pocket. Cyclops and Jean Grey have a moment to actually say goodbye to their son, and you can appreciate it because he's a full-grown adult and not a baby who doesn't understand what's going on. Yeah, cool. That's fantastic. Cool. There was one line that I was taken back is when Cyclops talks to Wolverine in the hospital bed, and he's like, "Don't you break her heart. You're the best at what you do. So heal, damn it." I was like, "Oh man, what the amount of emotional confidence you have to have in a relationship to know, like, I know she loves me, but there's a part of her that wants to ride you like a mechanical bull, and I can never break that. And I respect that enough to go, don't make my life harder dealing with a sad chick for the rest of my life. So you get better, so I can tell you to go F off and then make her stay with me on a regular basis. We already have enough problems, Wolverine. Heal up. I need you to man up, heal up. And then Morph, what a best friend to be open enough to turn it to the girl that you like, to say the encouraging words to keep it going. I mean, listen, you and me are friends. If either one of us could shapeshift, I don't think either one of us would do that for each other because we'd be like, whatever, pussy, heal. You know,
dude,
it would be.
Like, dude, come on, bro, let's go.
Yeah.
We get the things we got to do. I don't get time for this shit.
Rub some dirt on that. Get up, walk it off. Come on, you got to do it. I mean, but that was great emotional maturity on that side.
Yeah, cool.
And all that to say, You saw cameos of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch and Polaris in Magneto's mind when Xavier was embracing him. I know a lot of people talked about the whole conversation between Magneto and Xavier was very queer coded about the struggles of like having to come out and embrace yourself, and that's all fantastic.
I
But
don't know about that.
I don't care.
I didn't.
I mean, no, I mean,
I didn't get that vibe, but whatever. I get it.
well, no, not to say they're gay, but like
No.
the conversation is very similar to like how gay men, when they're first starting to figure out if they're gay or have a friend that's gay, they're like, I'm not a mutant, and they're kind of like, are you?
No, I mean, I get. I mean, I get. I didn't think about that. To be honest with you, but now you talk about it,
It,
I guess.
it's very,
But it's not. I don't.
but it's not
It's
to
not an
say
issue. I
they're
don't.
gay. It's
Yeah.
just that
Yeah.
showing the
Sure.
mutants is like an analogy for being gay,
Sure.
because you're born with it, kind of thing. I thought that was fine and
It's
dandy,
fine. Listen,
but
the X Men are an analogy of that, all right? Whether it
so
be
many
race
things,
or
right?
sexual, that's what it is,
Yeah,
right?
I
It can embrace all that. That's what it means.
and that's why
Yeah.
I love the X Men.
Yeah.
But I it was so worth it just to have that moment where Magneto's like, "You were born Eric Magnus Landshire, but there was a name you knew you would become. A name. I am Magneto's reborn." Like, oh my god! Like, oh, all the goosebumps. Like, yeah. Like, I put my cup up so hard I almost spilled coffee. I had to kind of catch it like Spider-Man when he did the food. Like, oh, right there. So great because the X-Men are doing their best, and at that moment, it just wasn't enough. You needed a little Magneto, and they save him. Everything's fantastic. Bastion gets sucked into a gravity well, which is essentially a mini black hole.
Right,
So
yeah.
he's gone. Great battle sequences all across the board. And then they just disappear. And then this is the big thing we're talking about. The epilogue takes part in 3 phases. There's the present, the past, and the future. The present is the X-Men gone for 6 months. And some of them, most people see them as heroes, but there's still people who hate mutants, which is very much like the end of the fall of the mutant storyline that happened in the 80s, where the X-Men were thought to have died, but it turned out their death was sort of faked. Well, they were going to die, but they got saved, and so they were given a second chance of life. So they became sort of like undercover for like a year, and so they got to hit their enemies from the shadows. No one knew they were the X-Men still alive, which is kind of cool. But so you have Bishop and Forge looking for either replacement X-Men or where the X-Men were. Bishop straight up telling you they're classic. It's not where they are, it's when.
Yeah.
I mean, classic time travel. Yeah. It's fine. But then you see that Jean Grey and Cyclops have ended up in the future, and they're with their young, like 10, 12-year-old Nathan, which automatically lets you know the people that told him about the X-Men when he was a kid were his parents. Right. So they did get a chance to raise him, which I really thought was cool. The old lady who's there, that's actually a character named Ascani, which is actually Rachel Summers, which is actually the kid that Cyclops and Jean Grey, not Madeline Pryor, would have in an alternate timeline. Okay. And she gets stuck in the future, and she raises Cable to be who he is. So essentially, you're getting a big Summers family. You got the daughter, the son, and the mom and dad, all that together. So I was really excited. That's what a miniseries called Cyclops and The Adventures of Cyclops and Jean Grey. Really excited about that to kind of see what they go about it, because they're going to have to train Nathan to get ready to fight Apocalypse. Right. But then you go straight to in the past, during the Egyptian times, where Magneto, Xavier, Beast, Rogue, and Nightcrawler end up, and they meet a young Ensabanor before he embraces being Apocalypse, and you see this future dome type thing, and that is actually not Apocalypse. It is Kang's temple, because in this time Kang is taking over Egypt as Rama-Tut, which was a pharaoh that was spray painted on the back of the jean jacket of one of the thugs from the Moon Knight series. That's right, deep dive. It all connects. It all goes Moon Knight, baby. So there's that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then you see in the present time, Apocalypse shows up, and he's in Genosha, and he does his version of talking about death like Thanos did at the end of the Avengers. Right. He does his death monologue, and he finds Gambit's Queen of Hearts card, which we talked about. Gambit does become death for Apocalypse's horseman. Now, here's the thing. Obviously, that's not going to bring back Gambit. But that also, we don't know where Cable is. We don't know where Wolverine is. Yeah, we don't know where Storm is. And Beast, they even said Jubilee and Sunspot are AWOL.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a whole other team there. Now, here's the thing. If you look at the wall of like mutants that Forge is looking for, it says that Archangel is missing and presumed dead. Archangel was deaf for Apocalypse's Four Horsemen.
Right.
But here's the thing: so has Wolverine, and so has Gambit. Apocalypse also converted a Sunfire to be Pestilence or Famine. I remember. I think it's Pestilence, and he converted White Queen to be War, if I'm not mistaken. But what I'm saying is, there's a lot of X-Men right now that could be converted to missing X-Men right now that could be converted to Apocalypse's Horsemen. Gambit for sure, but you could do Wolverine, and could be the one that puts the adamantium back in him. That's why he makes him his War. You can make, if Storm controls nature, she can control the feast or the famine, so she could be Famine. Like, there's a lot of cool things they can do with his. Also, in the future, Apocalypse infects two twins, becomes the Apocalypse twins, and they actually make Banshee one of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And Banshee died on Genosha too, so he could be brought in. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of things you can do with this. But if you're doing Apocalypse in the past, Apocalypse in the present, and Apocalypse in the future, if you could do the overall storyline, could be called the Ages of Apocalypse.
Yes, yeah.
That's fire right there.
Yeah, that's great story. That's really a great season 2.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's what they're doing, obviously.
Yeah. What better way to change the interpretation of Apocalypse from Oscar Isaac's Apocalypse, which wasn't his fault. That was all studio.
No, right.
But what's better way to make Apocalypse cool again? They go, we're going to show you why Apocalypse is cool at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. That's how cool Apocalypse is.
Yeah.
I'm here for that.
No, that's very exciting. And this, again, before he got fired, this guy would have had his name, got to write it, so that's good.
Both the mail. Right. Yeah.
Consistent.
The voice actor who does Rogue just said that she just finished recording her season 2 lines today.
Yeah, I'm not sure when that's going to drop. Is it next? I don't know if it's next year.
They've been working on it. So I mean, if they already finished doing the voice acting, I don't know if they do a play-by where they're looking at the scene and acting it out. I don't know if they do that.
That's how I'd seen it's done.
That's how it used to be. But I know a lot of, since the pandemic, they record at home now. So I don't know if they just see like an animatic or whatever the case is.
Possible. I mean, animation takes a little bit longer. So
sure,
it's just how it goes. So I don't know what next year, whatever. I mean, I think if they say they stick to the 2 shows a year, whatever the plan is, I would assume then it'd be 2025.
Six. I think 26. 26. Yeah, because you're gonna need. I think if they're working on now 24, 25, they finish, make touches, 26 to release.
Yeah, except they already have. We got Daredevil coming out next year,
right, exactly.
And I think Ironheart's the other one. I think.
Well, yeah, because we don't know, because if they're finally putting out Agatha, which no one knew was going to happen or not. Now you have to worry. What else do they already have in the can that they can?
That had been filmed and finished a while back.
Right, exactly.
So that's coming out. They're not going to hold on to it forever. So I would assume that would be the second helping of MCU next year. I'm guessing. I don't know. Right. Yeah, you're probably right. 2026. It sounds like a long time from now. That sucks.
it does until you think, well, I'm in 24.
I know. It's 2 years. So most shows take 2 years. Let's be honest. Every show takes a year and a half, 2.
Listen, if you're gonna wait 2 years for Game of Thrones, you can wait a year and a half for X-Men. All right, let's just put it out there. That's just the way it is.
Different show. Let's relax. Let's take a deep breath now.
Hey, Game of Thrones wishes it ended as good as
the original Game of Thrones. Correct. No, there's no question that. I wish it would end as good as Man of Web did now. And with that,
wishes it feels good. Yeah, reverse, not the other way around.
And with that, that's the show for the week.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate all the love and support you always give us. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe here on the YouTube channel, the Latin Nerd Network. You watch shows like Nerdsplaining and The Watch List and Thanos' Choice and other shows coming along. We promise. I so much stuff we want to do, we haven't got it to you, but it's coming. Trust me, it's so much there. If you like this show here, don't forget to follow us on social medias at Nerdsplaining _ on X, Twitter, at Nerdsplaining Pod on Instagram. Let us know what your favorite scenes are. Send us your screenshots. We can't wait to see all that as well. Don't forget, if you like this series, watch the original audio, listen to the original audio episodes on ericdasilva.com, EricDasilva. While you're there, don't forget to pick up my album, Adorably Offensive. Speaking of stand-up comedy, I will be at the Blue Door in Cummings, Georgia, June 1st. I'll be doing a small set over there. So if you're in the area and you happen to enjoy living in towns that sound like sex things, go to Cumming, Georgia, and I'll be there. So I'm really excited about that as well. Don't forget to check out my book, DangerSquad.com. Big announcements coming to that. It'll be probably like another month or two, and we'll have a big announcement to let you know about that. So keep your eyes planned out for that. And guys, that has been the show. I've been Eric DaSilva. This has been Jose Romero. We have been Nerdsplaining. If you don't know, now you know. Boom.